Okay, now we're back at it again. This is going to be rounds 11 through 15 of Masked Carnival. First things to note here, we're going to be doing round 11, Some Like It Excruciatingly Hot. This is another gimmick one. I don't like this one. For this one, the bombs are all going to have a really long cast, and the goal is to group them together because every time you hit them, the cast resets. So, like, to start this off, I'm going to run way off to the side, and I'm going to start using my cast here. It's going to all spells will have knockback on these guys as well. So here you can see I'm already almost dead with the first bomb. There, he's dead. And now we move on to the second. I'm using Alpine Draft because it's a lane attack. It deals damage to all enemies in front of you in a straight line. So I basically just line up all my enemies and then just hit them with that over and over. Act 1 is not bad. Act 2 is where it gets annoying, because now we're going to have to juggle 4 of them. Now, what I like to do is I like to knock them kind of all towards 1. But you can see I'm already starting to get... Some of them are getting kind of high. I'm going to have to attack him. I'm going to die. If any of their casts get off, you immediately die. And that's the downside there. It's all about time management. So let's go into it again, and we'll see what happens. Now, they are weak to wind attacks, and Sonic Boom casts really fast, which is what you saw me using last time. The only thing that I think casts faster than that is just your plain auto attack, which you can just run up to them and bonk them. They still go flying because they have knockback from everything. So, for an example of that, bonk. 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 I took too much time. So again, if you're going to do something like that, you really do need to just basically give 1 attack. I tried to do 2 off of the guy, off of the last one, just to get him lined up a little better. But you really need to do just 1. So the other thing you can try and do is you can try and basically just race them for damage. So like here I'm using just Sonic Boom on 1. I got him all the way down. So now I can use Sonic Boom on the other. I personally find it easier to group them. But if you want to just attack them one off in the first round, absolutely doable. So the second round, we're going to do some bonks, and we're going to maybe sprint this time, see if we can get a little bit extra time in there. There's bonk. 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 So now I've got them all basically to a point where they're all kind of grouped, and wind damage are dealing so much damage to them that this is now no longer a problem. And there's the last one. So that one is the first legitimately kind of tricky one, but it's still a gimmick. As long as you can bonk them, as long as you can get them into a group, just attack with conals, attack with lanes, attack with whatever you can, and next thing you know, they'll be dead. They're weak to wind, come in with your wing damage. Alright, so the next one we have is Phantom of the Opera. This one seems like it's going to be a boss fight straight out the gate. Lo and behold, it's a gimmick. It doesn't think, like you don't think it is, and then you see why, and it's a gimmick. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cast Ice Spikes. Then I'm going to attack one of the Roselets. All the other Roselets attack me. Ice Spikes reflects the damage and they die. The second fight is actually a legitimate fight. That said, it's not a hard fight, especially if you know that Ice Spikes does what it does. So for him, we're not going to use Ice Spikes right away. Ooh, I got hit by that, and that was a big hurt. I need to heal. So he's going to do these big attacks called Inflammable Fumes. And it hurts. But you have plenty of time. Note, whenever he's doing Spore Sack, he's going to spawn these flowers. That's your cue to cast Ice Spikes. And just like that, all the ads he spawned are dead. Don't be afraid to constantly heal yourself in this round. This one you're going to take a lot of damage because of Inflammable Fumes. Just make sure you're getting Ice Spikes up, make sure you're dealing damage to him, and he'll fall before you know it. If you want to deal extra damage to him, come in here with water-based attacks. He's super weak to water. Yeah, and as you can see, this has been basically a pretty straightforward fight. He's doing Spore Sack again, so let's get out Ice Spikes in preparation. He's doing a secondary Spore Sack after, so make sure if Ice Spikes doesn't fall off. It didn't. Alright, so they're all dead. While he's powering up this big attack of his, I'll do some big attack of mine. Once again, Serpanaka does nothing to him. I did White Wind a little too early. The one downside to White Wind, it's a huge waste of MP, especially if you're under half health. But as you can see here, he's almost dead, so he's going to power up for this, and we should kill him before he gets it off. And there we go. So that one seems tricky, but again, as long as you make sure that you heal after every big explosion that he does, and you're making sure to get your Ice Spikes off, then the ads are nothing. You never need to focus on them. And the boss himself, water attacks will really make that quicker. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is Beauty and a Beast. So this one kind of teaches you some interesting things. Most specifically, it's going to start off with 3 ads 2 of them will be petrified. So you don't have to worry about the 2 Vodarigas in the back, because they can't hurt you right now. One more attack should get rid of him. So now we can line up the Vodarigas, which they have 30 seconds on their petrification. And here I'm going to use Black and White Knight's Tour. They combo off of each other. And you see I'm just melting this one in front of me. It's already down. So now we have the second one. He's still got 13 seconds left on his petrification. I doubt he'll even get there. Just like that, not a problem. So now we're going to go into the second. This is actually just a straightforward fight. Nothing really tough about it. Just go at it like you would any other normal fight. She is going to spawn some ads, but honestly, more often than not, if you're somewhat paying attention, you should be able to actually, if you have a lot of spells like I do, you can actually get her real close to dead, if not dead. Make sure you don't look at her when she does her gaze attack. Look at that. Dead before she could summon any of her ads. It's just a straightforward fight. I know I didn't really show off a lot of what she does there because I killed her really quick, but there's not a lot you got to do with that one. Alright, so now we're going to go into the next one, which is going to be Blob in the Woods. Hey, this looks a little too easy. It's a gimmick. So for this one, you're going to need an overworld spell that I know some people think is tricky. This is a spell that is required for the Azomagia fight. It's called Loom. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to attack these guys, and they're going to blow up. You just got to stand on the other side of the wall, and you're fine. Just like the towers in the other slime one, where we blew up the slimes around them. As long as you're on the other side of the wall, you're fine. Act 1, piece of cake. The tricky part will be in Act 2, if you don't have Loom. If you have Loom, cakewalk. Alright, so here we're going to go into Act 2. As you can see, there's 4 of them, and now the only wall you really have to guard yourself is this wall here, in the cube in the center. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack one, and you can see he puts heavy on us. With this, we can't move like at all. But boy, can we loom. There, another one aggroed onto me. I guess we better kill him, huh? Oh, I didn't quite kill the first one. Can I drop this where to hit him? Yep. Okay. So there you got to see me kind of fixing my mistake a little. Certain spells you can actually kind of angle around corners. So now we're just going to loom over here. We got one left. A couple attacks will take care of him. He applies heavy. Once again, I didn't quite get him. That'll fix that. And because we're behind a wall, he will explode, and we'll just win the fight. Just like that. Another one in the books. Alright, so for the last one here, we're going to have the Me Nobody Nodes. But I'm going to have to change something real quick, because we need a specific spell for this one. And this one, I feel is far enough worth mentioning that I'm going to do this in a very notable way where you guys can see it. Acorn Bomb. You need it. You need it, you need it, absolutely need it. You will lose this fight if you do not have Acorn Bomb. So the me nobody knows. Very early into this fight, he's going to spawn an ad. When he spawns the ad, use Acorn Bomb on it. If you do not, it will kill you immediately. It spawns in with a buff that makes it super strong for 30 seconds. You can't outrun it, you can't dodge it, it will hit you, you will die. Acorn Bomb puts it to sleep for like 40 seconds. By the time it wakes up, it's a little baby weakling. So let's go ahead and start this fight off. We're just going to hit him with some big attacks right out the gate. Outside of that one thing, this is a pretty standard boss fight. Here's high voltage. You have plenty of time to disrupt that. And here comes the ad. Acorn Bomb. And he's asleep. Now, the Bestial Node will do an attack that is basically a large circle around him, like a donut around him. So as long as you're staying relatively close to him, you should be fine. Here he's going to summon a few more ads. There's Superstorm. That's the attack I was mentioning earlier. So now with all of these ads here, we can basically just spam Ram's voice. I need to get rid of high voltage. If you feel like you're taking too much damage, you can always heal. Alright, the two serpents are almost down. So again, back to just a normal boss fight. He really only spawns the 2 waves of ads. So as long as we just focus on getting them both down right now, that should be all we're going to see. Let's get him to stop doing high voltage. Go ahead and get rid of that ad. He's doing one last Superstorm, but he didn't even get there. So again, that's probably the first truly difficult, straightforward fight. It has a little bit of a gimmick to it, but it's not a problem if you know Acorn Bomb. Acorn Bomb can be learned in Central Shroud from any of the giant trees. If you go on a world tour that I take you on, that's my thing where I take all the blue mages I teach out on the world map to learn all the spells, you'll have Acorn Bomb. And it's fantastic. It's the only time you'll ever use it. Alright, so that's the end of 11 through 15. I'm going to cut this video here, and we'll come back in the next one for 16 through 20.